Okay. So here already we are done with Parliament. From the Parliament, we have got 25 questions in last 10 years. In last 10 years. Okay. Now today's class I'm going to start with this fundamental rights, DPSPs, and fundamental duties. Okay, altogether we have got 28 questions from these three chapters. So let's start with this: fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and fundamental DPSPs. Okay, so the first question is: consider the following statements regarding the directive principles of state policies. Okay, so see, the principles spell out the socio-economic democracy in the country. Okay, so obviously, see, fundamental rights, civic and political rights, it will give you. Okay, DPSPs, socio-economic rights, it will give you. Okay, and fundamental rights, they are enforceable. Enforceable. These are not enforceable. And fundamental rights are negative in character, which means it will advise the state not to do this, not to do that. Okay, but DPSPs, they are positive in character. It will advise the state to do this, that, everything. Okay, so this statement is correct. The provisions contained in the principles are not enforceable. Just now we have discussed, so both are correct. Okay, so your answer is both 1 and 2. Okay, now second question. Okay, see, now this is your second question. So what it is saying is to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India is provision made in preamble, directive principles of state policies, fundamental rights and fundamental duties. Okay, see, actually it's a part of fundamental duties. See, in total we have, when we'll discuss about fundamental duties, simple things to remember is: one, this is part 4a, article 51a. Before, we don't used to have this part, so we introduced this part by following 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Okay, when we introduced through this amendment, we used to have 10 rights. Okay, later we added one more right through 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002. Okay, so fundamental rights, they have introduced in our constitution on the recommendations of Swaran Singh Committee. Swaran Singh Committee. So only these things you need to remember, and along with that you need to remember all the fundamental duties. Okay, so fundamental duties, first one is to abide with the constitution and to follow its and to respect its ideals, institutions, national flag, national anthem. Okay, and second one is to cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom. And third one is this one: to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. So this is part of fundamental duties. So you have to remember all the 11 fundamental duties. So answer for your second question is option D. Okay, next we'll move to third question. Okay, so here it is, third question. Okay, so the ideal of welfare state in the Indian Constitution is enshrined in it, which means welfare state concept is present in which part? Preamble, directive principles of state policies, fundamental rights, and seventh schedule. Okay, see, actually it's a part of directive principles. We see in the article 38, we'll talk about to establish social order, so that we'll get welfare of the people. I mean, all the, see, the directive principles means directions while making policies. Directions given by the constitution while making policies. Whenever the state follows these directions while making policies, then our objective is will get a welfare state, a state where people will be happy. So the ideal is enshrined in directive principles of state policy. Okay, so your answer is option B. Okay, the next question is, okay, see, next question is right to vote and to be elected in India is a, okay, see here you need to apply this, what do you say, option elimination method. See, in the fundamental rights we don't have right to vote. Okay, see, actually right to vote, it's a part of part 15, election commission. Okay, so this is not directly given right to vote. So a case went to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court, through its interpretations, it told there is an article in this part 15, article 326. What this article says is elections for parliament and state legislative assembly is on the basis of universal adult franchise. Okay, so Supreme Court in that case it has told right to vote, right to vote, right to vote is part of this article 326. Okay, so this is not a fundamental right, but this right is given in the constitution, so this is a constitutional right. Okay, this is legal right as well. When both options are given, then you have to go with constitutional right. So your answer is option C. Okay, so the next question is, which of the following are envisaged by right against exploitation in the constitution? See, when I say right against exploitation, see, actually we have 6 fundamental rights in the Indian constitution. One is right to equality from article 14 to 18, and then second one is right to freedom from 19 to 22, and third one is rights against exploitation 23 and 24, and fourth one is right to religious freedom 25 to 28, cultural and educational rights 29 and 30, and 32 constitutional remedies, rights, right to constitutional remedies. So total 6 rights we have. Out of 6, he is asking about right against exploitation, which means third right, right against exploitation, right against exploitation. So article 23 and 24. What is article 23? So prohibition of traffic, which means selling humans like goods, selling and buying of humans like goods, forced labor. I mean, he has introduced the word here, beggar. Okay, beggar and other forms of forced labor. All these things are prohibited. Okay, this is article 23. And 24, it is simply talking about prohibition of child labor. Prohibition of child labor. So these are the articles which are there in rights against exploitation. So here he is asking about right against exploitation. So which of the following are envisaged, which means which of the following are present in right against exploitation. So first one is prohibition of traffic in human beings. Just now I have told you article 23. Abolition of untouchability, article 17, it's a part of right to equality, so this is not your option. So first one is correct. So remove all the options which are not having option 1. Remove all the options which are having option 2. and you are left with option C. So this is your option verification method. So protection of interests of minorities. See, obviously this is Article 29 and 30. Article 29. Okay. So 29 and 30 also it will cover. So cultural and educational rights it is. Okay. So this is also not correct. Prohibition of employment of children in factory and mines. So this is your option. So 1 and 4 is your answer. So option is C. Okay. The next question. Next question. Okay. So which of the following statements is or are true of the fundamental duties of an Indian citizen? Okay. So first one is legislative process has been provided to enforce these duties. First thing is these duties are not enforceable. Okay. And there is no process which is given in the constitution. Okay. If Parliament wants to come up with a law, okay, then it can come up with a law. Okay, but there is no process which is mentioned in the constitution. So this is wrong. So remove all the options which are having option 1. So now we are left with option 2 and 4. Okay, B and D. They are correlative to legal duty. See, when I say legal duties, these are legal in nature, which means if a duty is legal, then you have to do. Example, let's say a right to pay tax is a legal duty. Let's say, and actually you have to pay the tax. It's a legal duty, which is not given in the constitution, but it is given in the act, IT Act. So if you are not paying the duty, state will come to you and state will make sure that you are following that duty. Okay, those kind of duties are called legal duties. Now what he is comparing is fundamental duties with legal duties. So these fundamental duties, they are given in the constitution. It doesn't mean you have to follow. And if you are not following, it doesn't mean state will come to you and state will make sure that you will follow these duties. So this is also wrong. So your option is neither 1 or 2. Okay, so option B. Okay, and next question. Okay, so in the context of India, which one of the following is correct? Relationship between rights and duties. Okay, so here has given a relationship between rights and duties. So we'll see what is the correct relationship. Rights are correlative with duties. Actually, yes. While introducing the fundamental duties, they have said we need to have duties along with the rights, then only the country will be balanced, which means the rights are correlative with duties. Okay, this option is correct. Anyways, we'll see the remaining 3 options as well. Rights are personal and hence independent of society and duties. No, this is wrong. Okay, even rights and duties both are personal. Okay, example, we have a duty like 11th duty, which was added by 86 Constitutional Amendment Act 2002, which is saying to provide educational opportunities to your children or to your ward between 6 to 14 years. I mean, this is a kind of individual duty, not it is a personal, kind of collective duty. Okay, fine. So this is wrong. Rights, not the duties, are important for the advancement. Both are important, guys. So this is also wrong. Duties, not the rights, are important. Both are important. So this is quite easy question. So your answer is option A. Okay. The next question will be, which principle among the following was added to the directive principles by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act? Through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, which of the following is added? Okay, see, this question recently it is in remaining exams as well. Out of 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, we have added three things to the DPSPs. First one is Article 39A. Article 39A. Okay. Equal justice. Equal justice and equal justice and free legal aid. Free legal aid. Three articles we have added. First one is 39A and second one is 43A. Okay. So 43A is participation of workers in the management. Workers in the management. And third one is 48A. Protection of environment, safeguard forests and wildlife. Safeguard forests and wildlife. So these three articles are introduced by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So equal pay for equal work, this is part of 39 clause D. So this is already there in the Constitution. So this is not the case. Participation of workers in the management of industries. Yes, I have told you 43A. Right to work, education and public assistance. So this is also not. This is Article 41. Okay, and securing living wage and human conditions of work. Okay, so this is Article 42. This is Article 43. Okay, so this is Article 43. So this is your answer. Option B is your answer. Okay, so next question is, question number 9. Which one of the following statement is correct? Which one of the following statement is correct? Rights are claims of the state against the citizens. No, actually rights means simply, I'll tell you when I say you have a right. Okay, so this right will be given to citizen only. This right will be given to citizen only. When this right violates, then what happens is citizen will go to courts and courts will make sure that right is reinstalled, which means these rights are given to citizens against the government. Okay, so rights are claims of state against the citizens. No, rights are privileges which are incorporated in the constitution of a state. No, rights are claims of citizens against the citizen. This is correct, and your option is option C. And your option is answer is option C. Next question will be the last question for the day. Okay, so daily we'll do 10 questions minimum. So this is your next question. Okay, so consider the following statements with reference to the Constitution of India. The directive principles of the state constitute limitations upon legislative function and executive function. Okay, what he is saying is the DPSPs, directive principles of state policies, which will put limitations on legislative and executive functions. See, actually fundamental rights are there, these are enforceable. Here what they will do is, state you cannot do this, state you cannot do that. I mean, these things are instructions given by Constitution to the government. When I say state, okay, it includes government, legislature, state government, state legislature, local bodies and other bodies as well. So all these things you cannot do these things, which means fundamental rights are putting restrictions on legislature as well as executive. It is controlling us from the arbitrary laws of the legislature, and it is controlling us from the arbitrary actions of executive. So from both it is controlling. It is protecting us. So when they are enforceable, they will put limitations on legislative function and legislative executive functions. But DPSPs, they are not enforceable, which means they cannot put constraints, or they cannot put limitations on legislative or executive functions. So your answer is neither one nor two. So option D is your answer. So this is it for today, guys. And remaining next tomorrow I'll come with 10 more questions. Okay. So total 28 questions. So in next 2 days we'll complete the remaining questions. Thanks a lot, guys.